Welcome to Dear Husband, Dear Wife with Danny and Jenny Fuentes, a podcast about dating, marriage, and sex, where we break it down, keep it real, and unashamedly go there. Our goal is to foster a space that welcomes you to have conversations with us regarding these topics. And since we believe in seeking the truth about these topics, we guarantee to keep a biblical perspective in all things related. So go ahead and grab your favorite drink and or put those earbuds because it's about to get real.
Hello.
Hey everyone.
Hello.
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 Please ignore my husband.
People of social media, hello.
And podcast world.
And the podcast world.
Hello. Welcome to Dear Husband.
Dear Wife.
Yes.
With Danny and Jenny.
Yes. So we are so excited to be here today. Hey, Valentine's Day's around the corner.
Guys, pull out your wallets. Go buy a bunch of stuff that you're going to regret buying. It's freaking Valentine's Day next week.
Yeah, next week on
Monday.
Yeah, but today's episode's not really about the pressure of having to celebrate Valentine's Day, but in fact, today's episode, we want to actually talk to all the single ladies and all the single men out there. Hey.
This is where we would implement the Single Ladies by Beyonce.
Yeah.
We're not tech savvy. So just hum it in your mind and continue.
Yeah, well, welcome. We are excited. Actually, I am pretty excited to be talking in this episode with my husband about the myth of being single means that you're not lovable. I think society right nowadays, we have this pressure, especially in like Christian culture or even in the Latino culture. I don't know how it is for my white folk out there, but like in the Latino culture, like there's this pressure of like, you got to be married by your 20s and you got to have your third kid by 25. So
you got to be married by 27th child by 21. It's the struggle is real.
Yeah, the struggle is real. And so today we want to really just chat to everyone out there who's like, man, Valentine's Day is coming up. And the truth of the matter is I hate it, or you actually have like a deep hate relationship for Valentine's Day, or you're tempted to like be excited during the day, but then the night creeps in and you're like, man, everyone's out on dates and dinners and whatnot. And here I am all single.
Don't be afraid to be the third wheel, guys. You have to own it. Own it.
So to all my single ladies and all my single men.
All the single ladies. All the single ladies. All the single ladies. I don't know this song.
We are here for you. We are here for you today, and this is for you.
Yes.
So we just want to let you know that singleness is not bad.
It's not bad.
It's actually,
It's actually awesome. Think about it. No one is telling you what to do. You do what you want when you want. And if people get offended, you continue.
This is true.
Think about it, guys.
This is true. There's some joy that comes from being single.
Yeah.
I mean, I love my husband. We've been married for 9 years. We're celebrating 10 years in May. But the truth of the matter is, I would say, there's pleasure and beauty in being able to stay single and enjoy your singleness. So it's one thing to be single and be mopey and negative about it, being a negative Nancy about it. No offense to the Nancys out there. That
Sorry,
has nothing
Nancys.
to do with your name. I should be careful, more careful.
Sorry, Nancys. You're negative.
But, just in reality, there's that, but there's the other side of the coin of the people who are single and really are just enjoying and thriving in the season that they are in. So we want to encourage you to see your singleness in a way that it's good, in a way that it's fruitful. I work with a lot of college students, and the pressure to be engaged and married by the time that you graduate college is huge. I went to a Christian college, and the truth of the matter is that a lot of my colleagues who I graduated with, unfortunately, and who got married by the time that they were seniors in spring, or by the time that they graduated senior year, or that summer of, a lot of them are divorced. It's sad, but the divorce rate is really, really high. So I want to really encourage you to enjoy your singleness and to walk in that. One of the things that I want to just say is, I don't know how it is for men. Maybe you're going to talk for men in regards to singleness.
I'm going to talk for the boys.
Yes, and I'm going to talk to the women because I think it's very important that we address both sexes. I don't think it's fair to address just one, because I've become aware that men also have some insecurity when it comes to singleness. Is that true?
This is true.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Singleness. Singleness, it kind of goes both ways. I mean, it works for some people and for others it doesn't. I definitely have some friends in my life where guys my age are, they're not dating. They're just, doing life. Not that they feel like having a partner or having, a girlfriend is bad, but they find themselves in a position where they can sense that it's not their time yet. And that's okay. Again, like Jenny was mentioning earlier, at least in the Hispanic culture, there's this very thick expectation of you have to be married by a certain age. You gotta have kids by a certain age, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember, when we first got married, literally we had gotten married, and obviously, unless you're related to like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs or something, then you're coming for money. But for anyone that's not related to them, you're just broke. You're flat broke. So for us, we were just broke. And so I remember Jenny like really, really wanted kids, and in my mind, it's not that I didn't want them, but I was like, well, we just got married for starters. And, second of all, like we are not financially in a place where we can afford to maintain the necessities of children. And so, it was just, again, like, she just assumed that I didn't want kids, which was a lie. I always want kids, and I still want kids. But at that moment, we just, we weren't there. But again, like in regards to like, being single, at least in different cultures today, you can kind of see statistics are showing that people are not really looking to get married like before. Mm-hmm. Back then, like that was a big deal. Like you had to be married by a certain age. You had to be, at a certain stage in your life, whether it be through a career or, your dreams or whatever. Gotta have a house by a certain time, and et cetera, et cetera. But today, it's different. Life is kind of showing up as, a lot of people being single and them being okay with it. And so, but again, that doesn't mean necessarily that, hey, there's no one out there for you, or, sorry about that. It doesn't mean that there's no one out there for you, or that no one is ever going to show up. Again, we have friends, and even some family members that are just not in that time in their lives. So, what do you do when it comes to holidays like Valentine's Day? Mm-hmm. About like, when people go out, you have, fiancés, and you have married couples, and you have girlfriends and boyfriends. And, I think, again, I think it all comes down to perspective when it comes to being single. At least for guys, it's different. I mean, we can do life without a girlfriend or a fiancé, but I think in the end, it's just to a certain extent.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've come to learn is I'm currently, like I said, I work with both men and women, young adults in their early 20s. And even some of my coworkers are young. They're in their mid-20s, like right mid-20s. And one of the things that I was realizing is that men also have this pressure. I was talking particularly to a young man who just turned 25. And he was explaining how he has this pressure to have to take responsibility and care for someone. And I said, well, why do you feel this pressure? I literally just asked him this question. And he said, well, because my entire life I grew up around happy parents who have a happy marriage or healthy marriage. And that was like the epitome of like, that's what you get. Like, that's the biggest reward you can ever receive. And I think for young men who feel the stigma of having to have a perfect marriage at a very young age, it's probably very unhealthy. Because the reality is this, and we know this, psychology, science shows us, proves this, that your frontal lobe has not fully developed until you're 25. And this gentleman was just telling me how he's having like the biggest emotional roller coasters since he hit 25. Like all of a sudden he feels like he's shedding, and everything that he knew about himself or thought he knew about himself, it's now coming to be completely different. Like he's feeling different emotions. He's realizing and thinking completely more rationally and different than he was in his early 20s. And so I am no one to say this, but I do advocate this because I've seen it in my own life. Danny and I were engaged the first time. How old were you? How old were you? I think I was 21 and you were 20.
No, because that couldn't be right.
Yeah. It was my senior year of college. So I was 21 and you were 20. You were about to be 21 that summer. And I was going to turn 22. So, yes. So, we were engaged the first time at a very young age. And I will say this over and over and over. And even my husband agrees with this. If we would have gotten married back then, we would be probably most likely in that tier of percentage of people who are divorced. And if not, very, very miserable in our marriage.
Yeah.
Like, that's the honest truth.
100%.
Yeah. And you're like, wow, Jenny, you're so blunt about it. But the truth of the matter is, I would rather face honesty and be realistic about it and be real with you than to sugarcoat it and say, oh, yeah, getting married in your young 20s is great. The reality is, if you talk to so many couples who got married before 25, they are going to tell you that one of the biggest and hardest seasons of their lives is when they hit 25 or they hit that little 25, 26 identity crisis because their frontal lobe has all of a sudden fully developed and they start thinking differently and they realize their spouses think completely different from them too. There's like an identity shift that happens. So I want to encourage everyone who's younger than 25 and single, do not pressure yourself to have to find someone and get married.
Yeah.
And also, I would say have fun, get to know people. Now, I understand that the culture nowadays is about swiping left or swiping right. I've heard that in online dating and whatnot. And I'm not, I don't know what it feels like to be in online dating, but I can tell you this. One of my little sisters found her husband on online dating. But yeah. I would say this, really.
So weird.
But really, really enjoy the season that you are in without having the pressure to even date. Travel. Man.
Yeah. Get out there, guys.
Yeah.
Get out of your couch. Tell those 15-year-olds to stop gaming. Okay? Turn off the systems and go outside.
Yes.
Go interact with people.
Yes.
Get to know people. Meet new people.
Yes. Yes. Being in community in your singleness is one of the most important things that you can do for your emotional intelligence and your mental and spiritual and even physical well-being is being in community with other single people who are enjoying life, who are going through same seasons similar as you, who are navigating big decisions of life, like career, job. There's this stigma that you have to be married. Either you get married young or you get married old. And the truth of the matter is the 20s are a great time to explore and to do the things that you probably won't be able to do once you're married.
That is true. And again, that's not to say that if you were to get married, that all of that goes out the window.
Correct.
I think it all just comes down to perspective. I mean, I remember meeting a family that, I got to know the man's wife, and she had said that, she had her baby, and like 3 months later they were off to Disney World and whatnot. Or, I mean,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. Like she was taking her kid all over the place, and before the kid could even walk. And I mean, I think it's just perspective. A lot of people have this misconception that once you get married, a lot of things like
Game
that
over.
go out the window, or that's it. We can't do it anymore
No.
because we're old, or well, it's weird because we have kids now. Like, no, I think it just comes down to perspective.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, babe, because the truth of the matter, that's not what I'm advocating for.
I still have COVID cough.
The truth the truth of the matter is this, is that like Danny said, choosing your partner, your spouse is very important, and perspective on how you're going to do marriage is very important. But I also want to say that if you are nowhere near ready to be emotionally committed and take the risk of what marriage looks like, because marriage is a gamble. Like, it really is.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, it's a risk. You're
Yeah.
taking a risk, and you're saying, I'm denying to all of myself, because that's what selfless love is. You got to learn how to be selfless in your marriage. And it's no longer just about you, but it's about someone else's emotions coming to play. And how you treat those emotions really matter. And so one of the beautiful things about singleness is that you do have the opportunity to just focus on yourself and say, hey, this is about me getting well, getting healing, equipping yourself, and really enjoying certain perks that come with singleness, which is like, yeah, you don't have to worry about double the expense. You don't have to worry about, where and how am I going to provide for my husband or wife, depending on who the breadwinner is. Like, these are things that come into play once you're married. And so, being single and surrounding yourself with a community that will be there with you is extremely important. Having a group of healthy friends
Yeah.
who see singleness the same way.
Yeah. And I think also like Jenny was talking about, surrounding yourself with the right people, definitely changes perspectives. I mean, if you're going to be around people that are just going to, kind of disregard the concept of singleness, or always have, explicit intentions through singleness, like obviously that's going to taint your perception.
100%.
And so if you surround yourself with like-minded people where, yeah, maybe they're single too, but at the same time there's hope that, that special someone's going to come by, then again, that also will affect the way you perceive singleness. And so I think about it now, and the honest truth is that I wish I can go back when I was younger and tell myself like, hey man, like don't date anybody, dude. Like, just take it easy. That special someone's going to come by at some point. Just, learn more about yourself, enjoy life, and be at peace. And I'm pretty sure I would have saved myself a lot of drama, a lot of heartache, rather than assume that I knew what I needed and kept dragging my face across the floor. So, being single, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Again, and maybe some of you married couples out there are probably thinking, man, yeah, it's kind of true. I wish I can go back and, change a lot of things. And again, that's not to say that we're regretful or that we're kind of taking back the decision of our, marriages now. But that's just to say that obviously, if only we knew what we know today back then.
Yeah, no. And I think that's really important to also point out that your singleness is not also permission for you to be promiscuous, for you to go and, get jiggy with it with every single girl or
Get
guy.
your boogie on.
That's not what we're saying. But your singleness is a great opportunity for you to address the trauma and the damage that has been creating, emotional
Yeah.
damage that has been creating, like, go to therapy, like, get the help that you need. Your singleness is the opportunity for you to travel the world and see other places and learn from other people and meet new people, and to culturally just diverse yourself and get to learn from others. Every culture is different, and
Yeah.
there's something so beautiful like being able to say, okay, yeah, I'm working, I'm paying my rent, but I also have enough money to be able to go and travel. Those things don't really come easily for married couples, and especially for those who have kids too, unless you're, like Danny says, Bill Gates and very wealthy. But your singleness is also a way to actually get financially stable and start getting, like, realizing, finding that job that you really want, that you really like, and having the opportunity to, like, say, I'm going to do this for fun. Like, you don't have that pressure of having to get a job that makes a lot of money at the beginning if you don't want to, because the reality is only you, that you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
It changes when you get married. Like, now you can't just say, I'm just going to go do whatever the hell I want to do. And I'm going to work whatever I want to do. And it doesn't matter how much they pay me, because the truth of the matter is you don't have the luxury when you're married. And your singleness is also the opportunity for you to be able to surround yourself around older people and other married couples. And that's the second point that I want to bring up. Like, first and foremost, community, right? Like, that community also has to be, I really encourage you to surround yourself around other couples. I think that is very important, because when you surround yourself around other older couples in particularly, they have so much wisdom and so much discernment.
Yeah. I was going to say also that when you are not in a relationship, like when you are single and there isn't another person involved, I think that's a pretty deep opportunity to also find yourself. I mean, like Jenny was saying, there's a lot that that we don't experience, a lot that we do experience, but not everything comes at once. And so when we speed the process of where we want to be, we kind of force ourselves into certain experiences that could have waited had we had a different perception about it. And so I think for those of you who are single and are not in a relationship, I think this is a perfect time to, again, to really find yourselves, to reestablish for those of you who need to, and to establish for those of you who have to, of more deeper foundation and relationship with Christ. Because I think, when you do that, you grow under his guidance.
Yeah.
And you learn so much about yourself. You start to realize more about things that you never would have known. And so, when you have those opportunities, and then you come into an experience of where you have someone in your life, it's different. It's different because you're not bringing along someone else in a relationship, and now it's two people trying to find who they are. Because it's just adding more to the weight that shouldn't be added. And so I think, again, being single, I think is a really good opportunity to grow.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity to draw near to God. The word of God says, abide in me and I will abide in you, right? And it's a great opportunity for you to abide without any distractions and without having the pressure to have to please someone else. Or your time is actually very precious. That's the truth. And time is valuable. Time is of high value. And how you utilize it really does matter. And in your singleness, you are given the gift of time. Not that we all are, but in your singleness, you have more time to do X, Y, Z. You don't have to worry about, coming home and attending to the kids and attending to your husband or wife. You have that space to be able to just be. And I love what my husband said. It is the greatest opportunity that you have to just draw near to Christ and find your identity in Christ. And if you're having an identity crisis, I will say this: I'm glad you're not dating. Like, seriously, like you shouldn't be, you shouldn't be dating at this moment, and you're in the right path. Like, just, you're like, I'm all screwed up. How am I in the right path? girlfriend, boyfriend. Not boyfriend. Whoa, girlfriend.
Back it up. Back it up. Inappropriate.
Dude, the dead.
Just say girl and boy. That's it.
Or man, young woman, young man out there.
Male,
Female.
female.
Like
Just keep it scientific.
the truth of the matter is that like it is a great opportunity for you to get the healing and the support that you need, and to find your community, to find your people that are going to help you walk through this process. Like I said, dating should not. I also want to break the stigma of dating. Like, I think there's this dating, like, you date, and once you date, it's like, oh my gosh, that person has to be my person, because if not, then I'm a.
What is the stigma of dating?
Okay, so there's this stigma of dating that your 20s, you got to date and whatnot. There's two different stigmas happening in this world, in society right now. One is, if you go on a date, you are already envisioning getting married with that person. Like on the second date. Yeah. Okay, hold on.
I don't know if this
oh
is
my
true.
gosh, this is real. This is real. Okay. Then there's the second stigma of like dating is like swiping left and swiping right, and it's like when you go to 31 flavors and you try, it's a transaction, and you try all the 31 flavors, and then you realize, none of them are for me.
Dang.
So there's these two stigmas happening right now in dating. I want to break both of them.
So, I mean, would you say that date without purpose?
No. That's one of the stigmas. Like, oh, you can date without purpose. You don't have to have the full pressure of having to date.
But then we're implying that you should date with the purpose of like finding someone.
No, what I am saying.
So
I'm gonna screw everyone up that's listening to this podcast.
So how do we date?
What I am saying is that don't date with the intentions of having to find necessarily your spouse immediately.
Oh, okay.
But date in a way that it's friendship that leads to hopefully discovering something more intimate.
Gotcha. Okay.
I also don't want you to go in dating and trying all the 31 flavors.
Don't try 31 flavors, guys.
And then just boom, you drop the spoon and you're like, whatever, because these are people's emotions that you're handling and dealing with,
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is date in a way that it's
date without pressure.
Thank you.
Date without pressure.
I love my husband.
That makes
Thank you for reading between the lines.
That's why I'm a guy. 3 words.
So yeah.
Date without pressure.
Date without the pressure of having to make something happen. Date without the pressure of having to get married necessarily with that person immediately. Like, date in a way that allows you to cultivate.
Hi, my name is Danny. Want to marry me?
Imagine. So yeah, I think we've lost the art of friendship in dating.
Well, I think I mean, again, it's kind of to the point where like you have to.
We jump to the romance and sex.
Basically, yeah. And then you got to make something happen, or you got to have whatever it is. Like the whole concept of dating is it's really obscured now. But yeah. I wonder, and again, I also say this because I never did this, but I do wonder what it looks like to actually date in a more positive, godlike environment.
Yeah.
Where you hang out with someone, you get to know them, and
that's the beauty of courting.
You build a friendship, and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, like, yeah, this person's awesome. I want to spend more time with them, and then next thing you know, emotions start to kick in. Feelings start to build up. I honestly wonder what that looks like, because I definitely did not do that. But sorry about my cough. But at the same time, the good Lord was kind, and he gave me someone special. And that's you, babe.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's, this, honestly, like, I feel like we have this expectation, especially in Christianity, where you're dating. Basically, your dating has to be romantic, and it has to be involved with someone with the intention of getting married.
Yeah.
And I want to break that stigma in Christianity.
Break it.
Yeah. I think we should have the opportunity to be able to say that dating should be casually getting to know a person, or sometimes persons, that you may eventually have a romantic relationship with. You may or may not end up in marriage. And you just learn how to create these healthy boundaries around it. Because like you said, what does dating look like in a godly perspective, right? And so, I mean, I think that's an episode of itself. Like, we can totally talk about that next week if we wanted to. But I just want to say, like, let's, for the sake of time, because we're already running out of time, why don't we actually talk about that next week? And what is healthy, godlike dating look like?
Let's just write it down, because I'm pretty sure I'll forget.
No, I will make sure to write it down. But I think to address the first point that we're trying to make in this episode is that being single does not mean that you're not lovable. It means that you have an opportunity to actually explore and learn more about yourself. In fact, your relationship status does not have the ability to define you.
Yes.
Just because you're single doesn't mean that you are an unattractive person. Doesn't mean that you are not capable of being loved or of loving. And it doesn't mean that you are missing out.
Yeah.
That's the biggest lie the enemy can ever feed you.
Yeah.
In fact, being single means that you are...
Or at least it should mean that you are preparing yourself for that journey.
Yes. And there's no pressure behind it.
Yeah.
There shouldn't be pressure behind it. And so in this season, we want to encourage you to have a great support system, be in community with people who speak life over you, that encourage you as you prepare to what is to come, like my husband was saying, like preparing you to what is to come. Surround yourself with a community of people that are either in the same season that you are in, or even I would challenge you to surround yourself around other couples so that you can see what marriage is like and realize, is this something that I'm ready to do? Or do I just want to continue to enjoy my life?
Yeah.
And last but not least, remember that your relationship status doesn't have to define you. And take that away from you. Take that pressure away from you.
This is true.
So we just want to encourage all of our people as we enter into Valentine's Day who are single. Enjoy it.
Yeah, have fun, guys.
Get together with some of your girlfriends. Yeah. Get together with some of your guy friends.
Women, don't put the pressure on the husbands.
That's a different episode. We're talking about single people here.
Don't get rid of the pressure. If your wife gives you pressure, you take it, you wrap it up, and you toss it to the side.
And for all of our married couples who are listening to this, please disregard my husband at this moment.
And then you just go out and you have fun. And you say, babe, we're going to hit the $1 menu. You're welcome.
Oh, my gosh.
I love you like I love McChicken sandwiches.
And for my single people, please do not listen to my husband. He's giving you horrible advice.
This is fact, guys. This is facts.
We are 4 single people. We love you, and we are praying for you that this Valentine's would be a blessing for your life.
Yeah.
Find some girlfriends, go out. Find some guy friends, go out. Dude, cook some meals, order some pizzas, game it up, whatever you guys do. Women, don't go watching a romantic movie and getting all sad. Like, really just go out, enjoy, like, do a Galentine's, go painting, go whatever works for you, do some fun things, all right? So we love you guys, and thank you so much for listening to us.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening, for sparing your time with us. We hope that we are of some value.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again next week.
Yep. We will see you on the flip side.
Yeah.
Adios.
Take care.
Thank you for tuning in. We really enjoyed hanging out with you. If you really enjoyed hanging out with us too, then we ask you for one simple favor. Go ahead and leave us a review and let us know how we did. We thank you so much and we really appreciate your time. We look forward to seeing you next week. Adios.